everyone. Welcome to another podcast. My name is Sudhir, and I am heading alliances and channels at Lambda Test. AI is all the rage, everyone talking about it. But before you jump on the bandwagon, here is a question. Do you really need AI in your QA process? According to Gartner, 70% of organizations are exploring AI for software testing. But the real question is, what exactly do you need it for? In this session, we'll guide you through the AARRR framework to assess whether AI is right fit for your QA strategy. We'll explore how AI can help boost engineering productivity, streamline testing workflows, and elevate collaboration across teams. We'll also share insights from how AI-powered tools have been enhancing test automation, driving faster releases, and helping teams stay ahead of the curve. By the end, hopefully, you'll have a clear picture of whether AI is true asset for your QA processes or simply an overhype. With that, we have our special guest today, Lucy. She's heading the engineering excellence at Intellias, where she leads a horizontal function that drives the growth and adoption of engineering best practices across the company's diverse center of excellence, including front-end and back-end development, quality engineering, cloud, system engineering, and beyond. With over a decade of experience in the tech world, Lucy is passionate about helping the organization unlock its full potential through innovative practices and cutting-edge solutions. She's focused on making things better, faster, and smarter, whether that's implementing AI in testing, scaling cloud infrastructure, or pushing the boundaries of software engineering. Lucy thrives on fostering strong cross-functional connections that fuel excellence, creativity, and technical innovation. With that, a warm welcome to Lucy on the show. Lucy, anything before we get straight onto the questions from you?
Thank you very much, Sudhir, for such a nice introduction. Sounded really great. Thank you. And thank you for inviting and having me here. And I'm really happy to join and discuss all that hype topics related to AI and QA and to share like my thoughts with the global community. And actually, yeah, you pretty covered everything. Just what can I add? I'm really passionate about technology, about everything that's related with AI, because AI is everywhere right now. When you open, I don't know, LinkedIn, some tech blog, whatever, you're definitely gonna see millions of mentions of AI, and definitely me as like advocate for excellence within my company, I need to pay attention for that, and I need to find some ways how we can embed it and so on and so forth. Related to my experience, I've tried myself, I would say, in different roles. So I was a business analyst, full stack software developer, test automation engineer. And then finally, I found myself more in managerial stuff, like building excellence, right? And actually, I was deeply involved in building quality engineering processes for several companies. That's my background, yeah, and I think that's it.
Yeah, quite an impressive one, as well as quite diversified, right? From a BA to all the way, call it software engineering to quality engineering. Quite a journey. With that, Lucy, my first question, in fact, what does AARRR framework stands for, and how does it help determine if AI is truly needed for QA, and what are the key criteria for decision making?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. Thank you for that. And let me give you a little bit of the background of my thinking about the framework and actually what is it. And I've been thinking about AI for quite a long time now and tracking innovations, reading some, I don't know, research papers, trying out tools and observing how it's evolving across software engineering. And at first it was all hype. everyone was suddenly, I don't know, generated test cases with ChatGPT, writing code with copilots like GitHub Copilot or similar tools, or playing with some no-code or low-code tools, promising, like the rapid shift to autonomous quality assurance. And it was exciting, definitely, but also a little bit overwhelming. But the hype really didn't last forever. We quickly moved from the wow effect to the so what stage, right? What AI actually do in software development, how it is really applicable, and and what's the tangible value we can extract beyond just experimentation. And this shift in mindset is a part of broader transformation we're seeing, where AI is no longer just a buzzword. It's becoming fundamental, and this is especially true in quality assurance. And if we zoom in quality assurance specifically, at some point, IT service company I work for, we began receiving more and more client inquiries like, how can we enhance VA with AI? What does it mean to build an AI-infused or AI-native quality strategy? And to structure our thinking and assess readiness, I turn to frameworks that help teams evaluate their transformation journey. But instead of usual testing specific models like TMMI or something like that, I found that frameworks like the business model canvas or technology adoption lifecycle worked better for specifically this purpose. And these models focus on the broader business and technological readiness aspects, such as team culture, existing processes, and readiness for actually innovation, which I believe the critical when assessing how AI can fit into specifically your key process. And that's actually, that's a hard truth that in the world where even test automation that should be a given in the world of continuous quality, it's not always there. Like, let's be honest, right? And so how do you assess whether your team is really ready for something bigger, for introduction of AI to QA in a structured and sustainable way? And actually, that's where I found this R framework. I found this framework to be surprisingly helpful. And originally coined by Dave McClure for growth hacking, R framework, it's something not related to keywords. But anyways, if explaining the framework itself, it has this abbreviation, and R stands for acquisition, activation, retention, referral, and revenue. So these are the key aspects that we are considering when measuring something, right? But when we apply it to QA strategy, especially with the AI in the mix, it becomes powerful way to move from theory to practice. And it helps to cut through the noise, prioritize real business impact, and make grounded decisions. And just to clarify, when I'm saying AI in QA, I don't just mean someone, pasting requirements into ChatGPT and copying whatever comes out. I mean something more structured, right? Think embedding ready-to-use platforms that offer a real shift to autonomous testing, or building custom QA agents trained on domain-specific data, leveraging LLMs to generate test scripts, drive selective test executions, and automate results analysis and reporting, something like that. And it's about creating scalable, intelligent testing systems that augment human capability, not just replace it, right? So the R framework wasn't originally meant for QA. It's from startup world focused on customer growth. But when we applied it to AI and QA, it suddenly made a ton of sense for me. And if we break it down, and let's take like the first acquisition. Acquisition becomes something like that. How are we identifying test gaps or inefficiencies? Do we even need AI, or is it Or, for example, is basic test automation not in place yet? So when we're like pointing these kind of questions, we can understand better the problem, why we need to acquire this process tool or whatever. Then activation is about early value. Can AI actually help with something like log analysis or flaky test detection right now? So it's about proof of concept. It's about, low-hanging fruits where you can benefit, like not in a half a year or a year or so, but you can really see the results right now. Retention asks, is this AI tool, for example, scheme, are people coming back to use it, or is it just a one-time, I don't know, wow demo and that's it? So the point analyzing retention to understand really, will it be used within not only one team or squad, but entirely in the landscape of the whole organization? Because if we have these tools scaled for lots of teams, it makes a lot of sense, and then we can see the boost in the value. Referral is you can think about referral in this way. Our teams are talking about it, sharing knowledge, advocating for using this tool or process, AI driven, let's say, across all the projects. So it's also about scalability, and it's also about, if you're happy with the tool you're using, you want to share it. You want to, just say, hey, I'm using, I don't know, Playwright. It's working great for me, and you can try it, and you can see the benefits here, here, and here, something like that. And then your teammates, or maybe you're, kind of influencer in the QA world, and you can spread your opinions even outside your organization in terms of community, whatever. So if you're talking about this tool, process, whatever, it means that it really brings value. And the last R in the framework, it's about, it is revenue, but in our case, I would say it's more about the impact. It is where we ask, did this improve velocity, quality, or reduce costs? Here we need to think about some measurable outcomes we are expecting. Because we can just say we need AI because everyone is doing that. But why we use it? What problems do we have? And when we go through the whole this framework, analyzing the readiness, let's say, for AI, it helps cut through the noise and forces teams to focus on outcomes, not shiny tools, not just shiny tools. And you can spot if you're really solving the right problem before investing time and budget.
Yes.
That's
Wow.
something like that.
Quite thoughtful, and love the fact that last R, there has to be an ROI.
Yes, it's not actually ROI in a pure sense of it, but it's something that you can really measure. It can
Yeah.
be anything related to the process.
Measurable
Yeah, but
and why all the efforts have been done. What you said is absolute. I mean, it fits the theme really well. So that's a really great explanation. So moving to the next question is, what are the key organizational challenges when implementing AI, especially around QA? How the
mhm.
can overcome this, the resistance toward change, toward that. How do you work around with the mindset that we have seen in the traditional testing? Like you said, there's people don't even have automation in place, and AI is probably step two. So what's your thoughts?
Yes, yes. Sadly, I'm noticing that some teams, some products, they do not have test automation. I really cry, but that's another story. Actually, thank you for this question. It's really great because AI is kind of innovation. It's something new. It's not something we used to do, used to use, or something like that. It's very initial that there are gonna be some resistance. And in the mapping to the R framework activation stage, resistance is natural, especially when AI is seen as, I would say, disruptive. Many QA folks fear being replaced or doubt that AI understands context the way humans do. And that's that's fair, right? Because it's something new. We need to understand, first of all, how to work with it, what it is, and what we're going to do with it. So I would say that frame AI as an assistant, not a replacement. Start small, using AI to summarize, for example, test logs or detect flaky tests. So these are tiny steps, but they already enables you to, eliminate that routine from your work, and that's really helpful. And this commonly the pain points, for example, test engineers hate, and AI delivers real value fast, and that helps to build the trust. So I think that the trust is a key point here. Instead of running, like a top-down AI mandate that everyone should use AI or somehow embedded, implemented, or whatever, it's better to create, let's say, QA AI champions or ambassadors within each squad or team, people who can explore, who can advocate, and who can demystify. Because right now around AI, I believe there are lots of unclear things. Everyone thinking about, okay, I should try, I should use somehow, but what it actually means and what it really means for the testing, so no one knows. So you need to have, I would say, the team of ambassadors of the change, and through those ambassadors, you can work with the specific teams, with the specific setups, and with that resistance to change. And you need to work on the habit of using copilots, habit of using AI for your day-to-day work, and then it becomes like routine. And for me, it's the same like with test automation 5-10 years ago. It wasn't something common, but we adjusted, we adopted it, and now it's like very common thing for us. So something like that, and that's, I would say, grassroots approach accelerates activation and improves retention later on.
I agree. AI, AI should not be seen as a blue sky innovation. It is right there next to you. Let's use it day in, day out. Let's
Mm-hmm.
not treat it as a special project, but it is another necessity. So I completely understand. Probably I'll combine two questions, build up on what we just spoke about. Is what are you mentioned about, in the framework, you had a brief touch on that, but how exactly one would determine that I need higher AI adoption versus, in comparison to other companies? And you
Mm-hmm.
talk about test creation and test case, from a user story to test case generation,
Mm-hmm.
have been very easy problem to solve. You have historical data you can reference from, and kind of English, and then describe that further in terms of test steps. But what else do you see in terms of AI can contribute, especially when it comes to running pipelines? You mentioned about flaky test detection, extremely.
Mm-hmm.
But your thoughts on those two problem statements?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'll first of all, I touch the topic of the maturity of the teams, because I think that's really important. And if we are trying to understand whether you really need to implement some AI infused AI native solutions for a quality process, and you don't want to buy AI just because it's cool, right? First, you're evaluating the readiness. And here I would say that there are a set of questions. And in my thinking, these questions can already give you some understanding where you are right now. And it can be something like, are we capturing enough of QA signals, like overall as a QA team? Is our test data structured and usable? It's not only like data we use in for testing, but all the test artifacts that we have in place. And actually, do we have the right telemetry? I mean, structured data from test cases, logs, flakiness reports, defect trends. Do we have all this data? And one of such questions is always is also like, are our pipelines stable enough for intelligent orchestration. Because, like quality assurance, it is it's not living somewhere in isolation. It is embedded in each and every stage of the development. So it's very initial that we collaborate with development teams, with DevOps teams, and embedding quality within the delivery pipelines. And if the answer for those questions is no, we pause. We just pause and focusing on improving fundamentals, because if you do not have that foundation, it doesn't make sense to move any way forward. But if yes, we choose use cases that show early results, like using LLMs to auto-generate test cases based on user stories, something like that. And this ensures we activate AI in a way that fits our current maturity and unlocks quick value, creating the momentum we need for retention. And you also touched a little bit test automation, right? Like specific scenarios related to test automation and how AI can
Vision of the pipelines, and you mentioned about flaky test cases. So those are
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so here I would say that AI now offers the possibility for self-healing. And that's actually self-healing is often associated with like simple UI tweaks, but the real potential kicks in when you combine AI with the code intelligence, historical execution data, and dependency awareness. And AI can monitor code repositories and analyze recent commits and build a map of which components were modified and what tests are historically linked to them, to those components, services, so on and so forth. And when something breaks, instead of failing blindly, I can really help here. Actually, we've tried this approach and we see really great results. And what really AI can do that? So first of all, AI can trace the change across functions, modules, and services. It can suggest rerouting or regenerating the affected test logic automatically. So you don't even need to be involved as a, for example, test automation engineers. You have already draft and you just can review it and accept or decline or modify a little bit, but you do not need to spend a lot of time on, like digging inside why the test is flaky, what was changed, and what was the overall impact. And actually, AI can even rewrite the relevant test snippets using learned patterns from similar changes. But for that, that's very important also to understand. AI needs to be trained, right? So it needs to have all the data before we trying to use it in full scale, right? We need to make sure that AI has all the relevant data so it can build those patterns, so it can identify the patterns and it can map correctly like the starting point and the impact. So I believe that such kind of UI changes and small code changes, that's really what contributes to test flakiness, because it's not really bugs, it's not really defects, product defects, right? And it's a very common thing that test automation requires maintenance. It's not something living standalone, right? It constantly needs human intervention to just review the test run, identify what failed, identify is it a real bug or is it a test flakiness. And I believe that each and every team has their, a percentage of accepted flakiness, because that's we're not living in ideal worlds, and that's what AI can actually do on the background. So and actually as a testing agent, AI workflows can be integrated in the delivery pipelines. For example, when the commit is done, when the push is done, or when the new build of the app is assembled, right? So AI can generate some test cases, it can run some smoke tests, it can identify some, edge cases, something like that, and it can identify what was changed and how it impacted like real test suits. And maybe another example, if a test suddenly fails after a change, AI can analyze historical runs and say, for example, I don't know, wait, this test has passed 95% of similar context. This might be an anomaly, not a real bug, and that's actually what we want to have, not just spending time on like investigating that it was not a bug. So AI in this case, it can automatically trigger for example, a retry mechanism, right? So when we're designing our test automation frameworks, we're thinking about the stability, and most of the teams, I believe, have this retry mechanism implemented, and it can be actually automatically triggered. And it can also do cross comparison with previous test paths and identify the differences. And also it can recommend human in the loop review, because anyways, if we are talking about AI, definitely can't just rely 100% on the AI generated outputs or suggestions, whatever. So if the pattern is not identified, yes, it can like raise a hand, like here's a red flag, you need to pay attention. So in this way, as engineers, they are not distracted each and every time the test after the test run. So they can pay their attention only to significant important cases that really require their time to be spent on this or that investigation. And this reduces noise and increase really signal. No more panic from flaky tests after minor changes, something like that.
Right. This seems to be a very practical approach towards the overall AI implementation. I really picked up some great points here.
Mm-hmm.
Another question you just mentioned, right? Raise the flag, but how do we make it a practice? Is to ensure that QA engineers or teams are not over relying on AI capability, because it's at the end of the day what you mentioned. You need to train the model, and if your data set is not accurate, the output will be inaccurate as well. So I think those are
Mm-hmm.
this question probably well let's get to the answer of this question is what are those guardrails as an organization you're building to kind of have avoid any risk around over reliance on AI tools, especially not.
Mm-hmm. That's very true that there are some risks associated with AI, right? And even when you're using just a ChatGPT, it says it has like that bottom mark that you need to verify everything that AI says, right? You can't just blindly trust it, and that's true. And I believe that recently all that AI stuff has evolved greatly. Um, really, AI learns. There are lots of money spent by big companies into the AI, right? So it does not stand still. But anyways, um, we need to think about how we can protect ourselves and our product from risks associated with AI. And I think that this ties into the retention and long-term impact point of the R framework. And once teams rely on AI, you need what you need first of all, you need governance and clarity. In my thinking, yes, you can agree, you can disagree, but I think that without proper governance and clarity, you cannot move forward. You can think about introducing, let's call them AI review checkpoints, where humans audit model outputs, especially for high risk features. And I believe that each and every team is supposed to have that risk analysis, product risk analysis, right, where you understand the criticality, priority, risk associated with this or that part of functionality or feature. As a QA team, as a QA lead, for example, you understand which parts of the application require special attention because of the risks, let's say. And if you're implementing AI within the part AI and quality assurance. Within the part that is, let's say, high risk, you definitely need those AI review checkpoints. You need to verify, you need to spend some time before letting your AI models or AI tools operate independently. So you need to invest, and you need to understand that you need to invest some time and some capacity of your test engineers, maybe other team members like developers, DevOps, to assess the results that you had during the POC stage, let's say. And I think that it's super important to train QAs to challenge the AI, because it's like a new skill for test engineers, for test automation engineers, how you interact with AI, what you do with it, right? You need to know how to use this tool, and this requires a separate training and education, I would say. And your QA team, your test engineers, they should be able to ask such questions as, why was this test skipped? Not just see like the result and this test passed, this test didn't pass, and don't investigate the initial reason why was that. So why was the test skipped? You need to clearly understand that. And for example, why did this anomaly get flagged? So, and can the model explain its logic? So if you can like answer those types of questions, I believe that you understand what you have underhood and how you can operate it. And here I'd like to emphasize on pairing, just like pair programming, for example, right? But with AI. And QA works with the tool, questioning, refining, and interpreting. That keeps human insight like front and center, even as AI becomes a trusted copilot. But anyways, right now we need to have that human in the loop, and we need to have, I would say, like fallback mechanism. If we identify that something goes wrong, or we are not happy with the results, or we do not understand why it's happening, why AI behaves this way, we need to be able to switch to the more traditional processes, just to keep everyone safe and our product we're testing safe.
Wow, that's an interesting view. Um, and with all AI, I can clearly gauge you definitely prefer having human in the loop. They're not going away. But I'm sure, as you mentioned, right, they will be able to focus on more strategic tasks, more creative tasks. But how does it really transform for you in your organization, a QA's profile or a QA engineer with all AI around? Um, is it going to, you also mentioned that pair programming with AI, which means you need to be very, very business focused. It's very difficult to
Mhm.
train AI on business workflow for a specific organization, one site.
Mhm.
All. But with all that, how do you see this transform the role of the QA engineers with all AI along?
That's actually a great question, because what we see now on the market and what we saw on the market like 10 years ago, right? That's two different profiles. And I think that we're at a very real turning point now. And I really like, maybe you heard about that, the latest note from Shopify's CEO. And he said about AI that AI is no longer a nice to have skill, it's a fundamental skill. And to be like more specific, he said something like, you can't have an engineering team that isn't fluent in AI, period. And for me, it marks, like a new chapter in the skills, let's say, history, right? So it's really, everyone now understands that AI is not just a nice to have skill you need. If you want to be more effective, you or engineering team or QA team, more effective, more productive, more focused on value, you need to adopt different kind of tools, and AI provides a lot of support in that way. And for years, we have said test early, test often, but so much of QE work has still been consumed by repeatable tasks, writing the same scripts, maintaining flaky tests, parsing endless logs, and it's been very like execution heavy. With AI, that's starting to change, and like in my company, I already see that difference because our teams, like trying to adopt more and more of AI stuff in different aspects in software development and quality assurance. And what we've seen is I would say move away from the test case factory to intelligent quality engineering, where QAs, they just don't just test, they guide the quality, and they become the ones designing how feedback flows through the system. AI takes over the low-value repetitive tasks, generating initial test drafts, healing broken tests, clustering failures, or suggesting root causes. And that frees QAs to focus on high-order questions. And what I mean under high-order questions, it's nothing new, actually. It's nothing new. So these questions, it's like things like, are we testing the right things? Where are the real risks in this release? Or how can we shift quality left, maybe even before the first line of code is written? That's very basic questions, and each and every quality team thinks about that. But when it comes to reality, as a QA lead or as a QA team, what happens? You usually just don't have time to just sit down and reiterate on these questions, because you're need to meet some tough deadlines. You need to create test cases. You need to ensure that features delivered within this sprint are tested, powered by test automation. You have to gather all the metrics. You have to analyze the reports. You need to, process some incidents coming from production. Then you need to spend time on some, organizational stuff, communication with team members, other team members, so on and so forth. And you just continuously in this loop. But and in the best case scenario, you have your test strategy written once in the very beginning when you just started, and that's it. So you have it on Confluence or whatever system you use, and you just think that, okay, I need to find some time to get back to it, to review it, to discuss it with the team, and to align it with the evolved product needs, with the evolved requirements, and so on and so forth. So AI significantly helps here, freeing your time as a team lead or as a QA lead or as a QA team. And you can just sit and think, okay, what we are doing? Are we testing the correct things? What is let's maybe think about our product from different perspective. What are the ways we or testing types or whatever we haven't considered before? So now you have more time for that. And QAs start collaborating more with the product teams, with the developers, and even with data scientists, and they help define quality signals across the delivery pipeline. And they might even be the ones helping to build or fine-tune domain-specific QA agents. AI copilots trained on like your company's product architecture, test history, and I think that's actually a very fun shift, that QA engineers are becoming AI trainers in a way, because for AI to work well in testing, it needs context. It needs a lot of context. And who knows the product better than QAs do. And considering the future of the quality assurance engineer as a profession, I think that it's definitely less button clicking. It's more about test strategy. It's more about quality coaching and about data fluency and even a bit of ML whispering, something like that.
Yeah, I think this is one of those sessions where I get to learn a lot of practical implementation of AI, and I really like the overall thought process. So it was an excellent session. Lucy, we are on top of the clock already, but thank you so much. It was pleasure to have you hear your thoughts and quite insightful. While I said we are on top of the clock, I would love to pick your brain offline and build on top of what we discussed today. With that, big thank you for being part of this conversation. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. I'm happy to share my thoughts.
Thank you.